Alex Jones interviews Kevin Sorbo, and they touch on like at least Diddy and Obama and stuff. So let's give this a listen. This is bound to be insane.
Speaking of that, how big a deal is it that Elon Musk is super hardcore now? I mean, wow, what a blessing.
Well, I think he's waiting. I mean, I think he's been retweeting me. You've actually.
Okay, you cannot possibly stand for what Elon Musk says and be a Christian or what he does or whatever. The dude is, I believe, is an atheist, I think, Elon Musk, because he knows Richard Dawkins and talks about him and says how sad it is that Richard Dawkins is a normie now or whatever the f. It seems to me that if you know who Richard Dawkins is and you respected him at one point, you are most likely an atheist at some point, at least, right? I don't see how these people could possibly respect Elon Musk in any way.
Actually retweeted me, so thanks for that. But I know he's retweeted me a few times, which I think is great. I would love to talk to him. I got a couple things I'd love to share with him. But you look at what he's doing, and you look at even what Bill Maher's doing over the last couple of years.
Oh, Bill Maher, yeah, he's really making a mess of things, sadly.
I mean, Bill Maher is certainly. I think he's he's a Democrat, but he's not. He didn't go as far left the rest of the party. He's even saying, wake up. You guys are idiots. You guys are babies the way you're being with this attack thing, this woke stuff that's going on and on. And then he said,
this woke stuff is fictitious. This isn't happening. Okay, it's in your head. Come back to reality.
Don't send your kids to American universities. Look, my wife's a homeschool advocate. She just got an award up in Washington, D.C. last week. She's got a number of books on the subject. We're a homeschooler. She travels the country talking about it.
Oh, she's not just a homeschool advocate. Sam Sorbo, she's an advocate of something, I forget what it's called, free schooling maybe? It's this thing where you basically don't teach your kid at all. You don't teach them. They teach themselves. They pick the subjects that they want to study, and then they study them for a couple hours a day. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. No curriculum, just whatever you want to do. So stupid, man. God, they're poor kids. And the poor suckers who are falling for what this dude has to say.
One of the blessings of COVID is that 2 million more families are now homeschooling because they woke up to the reality of how bad our public schools are. So, it's run by the government, right? You know this. You know Reagan's quote. He said, the greatest words of fear are, hi, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. Because they're not here to help. Everything they get their hands on, they destroy. Our government right now easily treats us far worse than the British monarchy did 250 years ago.
What? You really believe that? You think the British monarchy was better than it is in America right now? You have got to be shitting me right now. Really?
We went to war on a 3% tax, and we lose half our money, and then the rest of the money gets taxed on whatever we buy forever. Everything about our government is printing money and taking money from you, the American citizens.
I mean, isn't that like every government ever? They give us services for those things, though. Like, we get stuff back for giving our money over. Like, for example, if somebody breaks into my house, I can file a report with the government to tell them that something happened, and they will look for the guy. If I get murdered, then the government will look for my murderer or whatever. I mean, we get things for taxes. We're not just, like, paying them and getting absolutely nothing. We live in a society.
Work hard. They want you to be their little work bees.
Absolutely. Kevin, let me ask you this question. You see movies like Civil War, huge budget, and it's all about a rebel group, the left, taking over. They kill the Trump figure. It's very obvious what they're doing. You got Democrats like Raskin saying we're going to have Civil War conditions. We're not going to certify a Trump victory.
Okay. No. I didn't hear anything about that. That's super far-fetched for me. I'm sorry. I just cannot buy that Jamie Raskin said Congress will not certify Donald Trump. Not happening. I can't even imagine him saying it because he knows that would never happen.
Everything they claimed Trump was going to do, going after political enemies, they're doing. It's
bullshit. Who?
Insane. But here's the good news. Major national studies, they now admit for the first time since Reagan, the majority of voters now identify as Republicans, signifying a Trump landslide, but they still sample more Democrats in polls.
Hold on. More Americans identify as Republicans than as Democrats for this first time decade. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure that that's incorrect, but whatever. You know what's happening right now? Alex Jones is trying to get a sweet gig as like the Secretary of Defense or something. No, that's going to a Fox News host, Pete Hegseth. I'm not even joking. He'll have to find something else, like the head of housing and urban development or something. I don't know. What role would Alex Jones fill? Can't be chief propagandist, because Carrie Lake has already accepted that job. Not joking, that's real. Voice of America, she accepted the position. She's going to be chief propagandist of the United States. What would Alex Jones do? What role would he fill in a Trump government? I wonder. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they worked together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, let's continue.
Do you think we're in a political realignment? In my view, no, we're in the Great Awakening, but I'm really concerned about what the crazy left, not just here but around the world, is going to do to try to maintain control.
They'll do anything. They're more organized in their hate and their anger and divisiveness, as you know. And my concern is, how much are they going to cheat at this election? Because
please. I mean, this is before the election, I guess.
We all know Biden didn't win the election. I am
bullshit. Biden won the election. Okay, you can say this mantra all you want. You can repeat it until you're blue in the face. Doesn't make it any more true. Biden won. All right. And you know what? This should be evidence of it. The fact that Trump won this one, and everybody just accepted that within like hours. Everybody accepted it. Left, right, center. It should be pretty clear by that, if nothing else, that the system is not rigged. It never was rigged, and that you live in a delusion. Is this going to pierce that thick skull of theirs, though? No, of course it isn't.
Voter fraud believer. There was voter fraud in that, and it's just, there's no doubt there was. There's no way Biden, who sat in his basement the entire time, won that election.
He didn't sit in his basement the entire time. What are you talking about?
I just don't buy it. You see it on 2000 Mules, Dinesh D'Souza's movie, and there's just so much fact out there. But like I said, our government treats us horribly. There's so much evil in our country right now. And I mean, they're doing what they're doing on purpose. Look, 20 million people across the border, really? I mean,
no. 20 million people did not come across the border or whatever in the past 8 years. I think there are a total of 20 million immigrants in the country. I think that might be the case. But, you know, when you think about it, like, everybody is an immigrant here, right? This is a country of immigrants. Honestly, it's really sad to me that these people are so dead set on hating immigrants. What is the downside to immigration? There is none. It boosts an economy. It makes it grow to have more people added to it, more jobs, more money moving through the system and everything else. What's the downside? There is, as far as I can tell, only one reason for people to hate immigration. I don't know of any other. But what Kevin Sorbo is claiming here is that there's a realignment. He's repeating a Nazi propaganda point called the Great Replacement Conspiracy. It wasn't invented in Germany, but it was, you know, a key component of their propaganda was that the Jews were replacing them. That's why there's that saying, the Jews will not replace us, you know? That's straight out of the mouth of Hitler. Jews will not replace us. So I just don't understand how he doesn't realize that. Like, how is he so oblivious to the fact that he's repeating Nazi propaganda in the Great Replacement? That's not how it works. Only 54% vote Democrat, I think, or are likely to vote Democrat at most. And a lot of immigrants are right-wing, like Cubans, super right-wing when they come here. It would take 100 million people or more staying here for 7 years to gain citizenship before they could vote in the election and change absolutely anything at all. Great Replacement Conspiracy is garbage. It's complete nonsense. It doesn't add up logically, and it's Nazi propaganda. So there are the reasons why we should be skeptical of it. Just those alone.
I mean, how many of those people? I've read anywhere between 700 and 900,000 terrorists around the country. I don't know where they get those numbers.
700 or 900,000 terrorists have come over the border? Come on, man. Is he really this big of a sucker?
But if there's any truth to it all, we know something. We know a lot
Sure.
right across. I'm more worried about a 9/11 on a mass scale than I'm worried about one city getting it. This is insane what we've been doing and what we continue to do. And apathy is the biggest killer in America right now.
You want to know the real thing that we should be worried about? Like, actually, we shouldn't be worried about Islamic extremists like trying to blow things up or whatever. That's not going to happen. Or probably more accurately, the government has that on lock. I don't worry about that happening. I don't think we need to worry about like Islamic terrorists coming in and blowing anything up anymore. The TSA handles that just fine. But we do need to worry about homegrown white supremacist terrorists blowing things up, like Timothy McVeigh, for example, neo-Nazi, read the Turner Diaries, had a copy of it in his car, you know. That's the kind of shit we should be worried about. Homegrown terrorists.
Because people have just given up on fighting anything. They just go, oh, well, what can we do? Well, maybe we should wake up and maybe we should start teaching civics in school so kids grow.
They do teach civics in school. Are you serious? I mean, I think they only have like one semester of it. I had one semester of civics, I believe. Maybe it was an elective. I don't know, but they should teach civics. I agree. Of course, he doesn't want civics in school, actually. He just doesn't want school, any school, ever. Oh, my God.
Grow up realizing it's we the people, not we the big government.
Well, absolutely, and all this pedophile ring crap is coming out, and the different branches of the intelligence agencies have been caught being involved. But we have a
What are you talking about? Who told you this?
billion of the FEMA money now spent on illegal aliens resettling, and we have 325,000 missing children that Kamala put into the country. And I have the articles right here with no paperwork in many cases.
Bullshit. This is back to the old QAnon claim that there are 400,000 kids that go missing every year. It's nonsense. I think that the statistic 400,000 missing kids, they use it to like claim that, you know, there's a trafficking ring taking advantage of kids or whatever. The deep state is taking advantage of these kids. Actually, those are reported cases, but it doesn't report the resolved cases. I think something like 80 or 90% of those 400,000 are runaway teens who had terrible parents and left at like 16, 17 years old or whatever. There's a very small portion of that number that are actually missing. Like they've been sold into a trafficking ring or something. And that exists and that should be dealt with. But what he's saying here is completely misrepresenting the situation entirely.
They turn out in factories and slave labor, sex slavery. Trump's starting to hammer this, but this to me is the elephant in the room. If Trump comes out and says, and I know the Texas Attorney General's doing it, the Texas Lieutenant Governor's doing it.
Oh, God, the Attorney General of Texas is a complete piece of trash. That would be Ken Paxton. He's a monster. He is about as corrupt as they come. He was impeached by Republicans by state Republicans, because he showed up to the House chamber, I think, drunk, and also threatened people with his position, used his position to like bribe people. And so, I mean, as corrupt as they come. And Donald Trump drew attention to it, and suddenly the impeachment inquiry went away. I mean, it wasn't just an inquiry. I mean, he was being tried. He was on trial for impeachment, and they voted against impeachment because Donald Trump got involved. So yeah, piece of trash is the point.
Sex slavery. Trump's starting to hammer this, but this to me is the elephant in the room. If Trump comes out and says, and I know the Texas Attorney General's doing it, the Texas Lieutenant Governor's doing it, a few others are saying, arrest Kamala, arrest Mayorkas, but Trump needs to go all the way and say, we're going to find these kids and we're going to prosecute Mayorkas and others.
There aren't any kids to find. It's the problem. And what is his hang up with Mayorkas? Who the hell is Mayorkas?
Because this is the smoking gun right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's this child. It seems like every Super Bowl. I don't know what goes on with Super Bowls. They break up some large human trafficking ring at the Super Bowl. That these guys come in like food trucks.
What?
But it's not food; it's little children. So they seem to bust that constantly and have them.
Oh my God, dude! They come in like with food trucks, but it's children at the food trucks. Really? Is he saying that like atheists eat babies again? Is that what he's claiming right now?
over and over and over again. And I love what Trump's doing. I mean, here's a guy that had 2 assassination attempts on his life, and the left treats it, even the left media treats it like a fender bender in a parking lot.
What? No, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. I don't know who he thinks is like treating it like a fender bender. It was wall-to-wall media coverage for like weeks or even months.
Why are we not getting answers about this? If this happened on the other side,
we have answers. What are you talking about? We don't have answers. Of course we do. We know who did the assassination attempt. We know why and everything else.
They know everybody's been involved. I'm not going to say it out loud. Maybe you're going to say it out loud, but I think we all know who's behind these assassination attempts.
George Soros, of course, right?
We know who's behind the stand down, and then Google for 2 months. If you search Trump assassination attempt, you got RFK and JFK and Martin Luther King and Reagan. You wouldn't even...
Bullshit.
They wouldn't even show the images of him. And that was my last question. You got to come back soon and talk about some of your films. But Kevin Sorbo, you read my mind. Trump assassination. Where were you when you heard about it? Or did you see it live on July 13th? Tucker just released new footage of the shooter climbing on the roof. Everybody pointing, shooter, shooter. And then where were you 3 weeks ago there?
I don't trust anything Tucker releases. He is a full-blown propagandist. Like Russia levels of propagandist, so he is not trustworthy in any way. I wouldn't put it past Tucker to just fabricate footage, even.
In when that took place in Mar-a-Lago, there in Florida, because I mean this is epic, and you're right. They treat it like it's a fender bender. They treat it like it's just for 8 hours, Forbes and CNN.
Bro, they are like perpetual victims in every situation. They can't ever just be like normal human beings. They have to be victims of everything all the time. You know, I'm actually a member of a minority group that is actually persecuted. And I don't talk about persecution like they do. Oh my God. Being an atheist, of course. These people need help. Really.
Stop it. Get some help.
And said Trump fell down. I mean, they were going to. So what were you thinking when you saw that? And God forbid they're going to try again. We know that. What would have happened if they killed Trump?
Yeah, it's incredible. People, and I saw stuff on the internet. People were saying, "Too bad he wasn't killed." All this stuff. Like I said, the amount of
wait, are you saying similar to how they spoke about Paul Pelosi? Is that right? When he was attacked with a hammer, remember that? No, I don't stand for anybody saying that, you know, he should have been killed or whatever. I don't believe that. That's not how we resolve our problems, and it honestly wouldn't even resolve our problems anyway. He would continue to affect people beyond the grave. Those people are here forever, honestly. And it would turn him into a martyr. It's all we'd hear about. So anyway, I don't think that we need, it doesn't matter. I would prefer that Trump is alive because I don't want to live in a world where political violence is acceptable.
They vilified this guy for 10 years now. Trump, prior to that, was a registered Democrat. He also was begged to be, people wanted him on their late night talk shows.
Okay, I don't think he's a registered Democrat. I don't know. But he wasn't a complete sack of shit publicly yet, back in like 2006. But he was still a complete sack of shit by claiming that Obama wasn't really American and all kinds of other insane shit. Like, it's so messed up what Trump has done. And the saddest part is he's never going to face accountability. Never. That eats me up.
He wanted to do cameos in his TV shows and movies, on their movies. They loved Trump. The minute he went the other way, they just went after this guy over and over again. I've known him since 2005. I've golfed with him on multiple occasions.
Wait, you telling me that the moment that Donald Trump did something that people didn't like, they went after him? Wow, I didn't see that coming.
I've been on that golf course with him where they caught the second guy trying to get a shot at him. I know that 4, 5, and 6 holes very, very well there. And, you know, when I golf with him, he's got his Secret Service guys with him. He's those 2 guys that caught the guy with the gun that saw what was going on. They always go to the hole ahead of us. 2 stay with us, 2 stay behind us. Well, when they make sure that each hole is secure, if there's people in the hole, they tell him the president's coming through. They know Trump International, you got to move over because Trump golfs fast like I do. So we'll hit our tee shots. He'll drive over to them as golf cart, get out, shake all their hands, thank them for being there, and say, we'll be out of your way in a heartbeat. Have a great day. God bless you. Gets in his cart and drives away. Do you think Obama would do that?
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Why do you think that he wouldn't? God, these people are ridiculous. They will buy anything.
Think Biden would do that? No, of course they wouldn't.
Why do you think they wouldn't do that?
People have no idea how really.
And honestly, I don't even know if Trump does that. Who knows? I mean, Sorbo makes shit up for a living, so.
Genuine this guy is. And I really think if people watched the Gutfield show last week when he was on there, they could see the true humor this guy has. They went after his family for 10 years to try to find crap on him, find any kind of junk. They couldn't find it.
What, they couldn't? Are you serious? You can't be serious. You're trying to tell me that you believe that nobody could find anything in Trump's past that was questionable? Nobody could find anything that he did wrong? Are you joking? Trump has done all kinds of shit wrong, like in his entire life. He has screwed his employees out of pay. He refused to rent to black applicants. I mean, those are just like a couple of things that he did a long time ago. There's way more recent stuff.
So you can talk about him as a man that's had multiple women, wives or whatever, but then what about him as a father? Obviously, he's a great father.
Obviously? Why is that obvious to you?
And all of his kids, the way they are and the way they act and the way they behave themselves kind of proves that point.
And now we learn that Kamala Harris's husband, the so-called first gentleman they're already calling him, forcefully reportedly slapped a woman, admitted he cheated on his wife, and they...
Oh my God, dude. These people talking about, like, slandering people the moment that they're politically relevant, and then they go and say this kind of shit. Like, what is wrong with them? They have no shame. None. They have no sense of dignity. They'll say and do absolutely anything. Crazy. You know, I just read a biography on a guy named Julius Streicher. He was the editor of the magazine Der Stürmer. It was a magazine in Germany in the 30s and 40s that was just pure vile hate, just vile nonsense, garbage. Like, he would make shit up about Jews all the time. For example, he made up this claim that when mammals mate, the DNA from the male mammal stays in the female mammal forever, for the rest of its life. And it's tainted by that DNA till the day that it dies, thus justifying classifying people as non-Aryan if they had ever slept with a Jewish person before. I mean, it's just pseudoscientific garbage, all of it. But it's vile. And he used to, like, make things up about people specifically. He would draw vile cartoons about people, like racist cartoons. It was bad. And that's what these people remind me of, honestly. Alex Jones, I don't think he's quite as bad as Julius Streicher. That dude was something else. I'm trying to think of who would be the Julius Streicher of today. I was just thinking about this the other day. There's somebody that's like Julius Streicher, basically. Stu Peters. Stu Peters is like Julius Streicher. Identical.
They took this third world black chick who would be considered hideously ugly by the standards of any race, who makes Michelle Obama look like the prom queen, and then they cast her in the role of someone so beautiful that she's worth actually dying for. I mean, it's ridiculous on its face. No pun intended. But it's not like they're the first ones to do this. This has been a fad now for years. Like turning Julius Caesar into a black guy or Alexander the Great into a pirate. Anything to diminish the creations and the accomplishments and the mere existence of white people. Remember Hamilton? When the founders were cast as a bunch of minorities and people actually thought that it was because Hamilton in real life was black? There are actually people who think that because of that play. And though Hamilton may be the one that the white race could agree to give up, considering he's the guy who surrendered America to the international banking cartel right from the very start, but what all this comes down to is this obsessive Marxist anti-white desire to redistribute the accomplishments and the ideas and the culture of white people, the success of white people, to groups who have never accomplished on their own. Who, when Shakespeare was writing Romeo and Juliet, they'd yet to master the concept of the wheel, let alone a written language. And the entertainment industry is the perfect place to roll this agenda out because right along with the academia, it has the attention of the people. It's the perfect field to run a psyop through, to demoralize the population. Hollywood Jews have been doing it on screen for decades. A theater stage is no different.
You know what else Julius Streicher used to do? A little bit of an aside, but I think it's a fascinating piece of history. He used to go into very descriptive, gory detail about what Jews were doing to innocent Aryan women who didn't deserve it. I mean, he would go into like disgusting detail about shit that never happened. Like this stuff genuinely didn't happen. He was just making it up. Similar to how Marjorie Taylor Greene makes things up about like how abortion works, just fabricating it. It's because it tugs on the heartstrings. It's like, it's horrific to listen to. And it's also completely fake. And the fact that like, you know, these people even think about this stuff to come up with it in the first place is haunting. Anyway, keep listening here.
Parade him around as like he is the epitome of a good man. I mean, this is a sick joke.
Yeah. I mean, my two boys are awesome. I got a daughter who's awesome too, but my oldest son is 23, 6'5", he's 230, he's ripped up. He goes in the gym wearing a shirt saying, "Embrace masculinity." I love that.
Ugh, God, he's one of those people.
Kevin Sorbo, people should visit your amazing studios, sorbostudios.com, and K Sorbos, or I guess it's spelled different.
K-Sorbs, yeah.
For S-O-R-B-S.
All my buddies call me Sorbs, so it's K Sorbs on X.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for the time and great job in Reagan.
I thank you. Appreciate
Yeah, it sounds like that's the end. Wow, man. Absolutely nuts. God, Kevin Sorbo is such an interesting, rich source of psychosis, right? Let's see, what else did they do for the remaining, like, 6 minutes of the clip? Is this all, like, advertisements? Oh, my God, it is. It's all advertisements. It's all for... Oh, what's this? Hold on.
And the Democrats have said they never wanted money from me. They wanted me silenced. That was always their goal.
Take Alex Jones' platform that he talks about away. I asked.
It literally caught him mid-sentence. What was he saying? Alex Jones, again, he just lies. He clickbaits. He clips people out of context. I think that they wanted Alex Jones to stop talking about the families of the children that died at Sandy Hook. But the judge didn't even order that. To my knowledge, I don't believe that he ordered him to stop talking about them. If he slanders them again, then there will certainly be consequences for him. But I don't think he's been ordered to clamp it. He's such a victim all the time.
That you make certain he can't rebuild.
Is there's going to be a large set of plaintiffs who are going to be dividing up the corpse of Infowars in the bankruptcy estate. And over the course of that process, that could get very, very dangerous for Mr. Jones.
I
have no idea what that meant.
hope that we never see someone like him again.
And if you're out there right now and you're one of Alex Jones's audience members and you're considering giving him money, I just want you to know that based on the jury's verdict today, it's not a very good bet.
Oh my God. Jones is so vile. It is disgusting, some of the shit that he says and does. Like, you can't convince me that he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. I mean, I've listened to some of Alex Jones's stuff where I know for a fact that he made things up. I know that what he produced, he knew was false, and he produced it anyway, some of this stuff. And it makes me wonder, like, does Alex Jones think he's just doing the right thing by lying? Is he a true believer or what? Or is he cynically just taking suckers for a ride? I think he's a true believer, and when he outright blatantly lies like I've seen him do, I think he takes an ends justify the means kind of perspective with it. This isn't true technically, but it's true in spirit, so we might as well spread it anyway, because, these people are doing, like, terrible things anyway. Like, the Sandy Hook families, maybe they didn't fake it. Maybe they weren't crisis actors, but I'm going to keep saying it anyway, because there are crisis actors that, like, pretend to be, attacked to prevent people or to get people's guns or whatever other shit. That's the kind of thing that I think he engages in. I don't know that he's done that specific one. Probably not. But I believe that he's a true believer and that he just lies to convince people of what he thinks is true. It's just nuts, man. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments.